news. You do not have to read the newspaper to be able to cope with the latest happenings worldwide. You just have to open your cell phone or to go to any social media platform, and you can watch live events with its full credibility before your eyes. This is very dangerous. It's a two-sided weapon, but at the same time, if it delivers a message, it would deliver a message of credibility, is the only element that wins at the end of the day. Today we're going to be talking about the role of social media when it comes at time of crisis. Of course, it's the best conveyor for events, and we're very delighted to be having with us our prominent guest engineer, Mohamed Azzam. He is board member of International Association Management of Technology. Good evening, Engineer Azzam. How do you assess what I've said? Is it really true that social media is taking the lead and off with anything else?
Good evening, and thank you for this question. Of course, social media is changing our life actually forever. We have more than 4 billion people are using different platforms, and the platforms or the people spending time on the platforms that could up to 8 hours per day. So we are living actually on social media, and for the generations, the new generations, for the millennial generation or even Z generation, social media is becoming the main source of news. And they know everything from a tweet or a post on a Facebook or a video on Instagram or a message on LinkedIn. So this is coming a totally different aspect, and the dynamics there is totally different, because actually the creator of the content is becoming the individuals, not only the organization like in the past. In the past, as you mentioned, we have or consuming news coming from TV channels, coming from
news, from a source.
From source, yes, exactly. Today we are consuming news coming from individuals. With
just anybody.
Just absolutely anyone. This was called citizenship or citizen journalism, that I'm becoming a creator of content. I have my mobile phone, I have my camera, I can type anything, I can attach a picture, I can upload a video, I can go live streaming. So this is a new world, this new dynamics, and we need to cope with it. And of course, on the other side, social media or the internet is a green field for manipulating anything. Anything can be manipulated on the internet and social media, and we've seen a lot of fake news. We've seen a lot of fake videos, fake pictures that are spreading like fire on the internet actually, and this becoming actually one of the main issues that facing the world, not only a country that we're talking about here, the whole world. Even this subject has been brought to discussion even on the level of the Security Council within the United Nations. So we are calling this as infodemic. It's a
infodemic.
What does that mean? Actually, it's another type of pandemics, but with respect to information. And this was quite clear when the virus outbreak or the coronavirus outbreak back in March 2020. Actually, a few months later, the Secretary General of the United Nations said that we are fighting two pandemics. One is the health crisis, a health pandemic, and the other one is called information pandemic. And because it's a green field, anyone can spread fake news, misinformation, disinformation. And actually during coronavirus outbreak, this was hindering the efforts for combating the disease and distributing the vaccines, and even making a sort of awareness to people that the vaccine is very important and we need how to mitigate the risk related to the virus outbreak. And we've seen this during the other crises that happened back in February 2022 in East Europe. And of course, social media and the fake news and the cyber attacks, and is becoming one of the element that affecting the public opinion here in Egypt and all over the world. That's why we need to have a sort of a framework to govern the data, because if you can imagine the size of data we're producing every year now, we're talking here about 120 zettabyte. Zettabyte is 1 zettabyte is 1 trillion gigabyte. Your hard disk is something like 1,000 gigabyte. So you can imagine the size of data humans are producing each year. This 120 zettabyte, the number was only less than 1 zettabyte almost 20 years ago.
Right, but before air, you talked to me about controlling the information and versifying this information and try to filter this information, whether this is credible or not credible, whether this against the rule or against the policies or whatever, by a procedure. You talked about that, which is very important. Why this information is banned? Is there an automatic ban that could be imposed over a piece of information while another piece is also could pass? And how exactly is that particular process run? I mean, how does it run? Is it run in a fair way? Is it biased? I mean, talk to us about that particular procedure.
Actually, each platform has its own policy. Actually, if you are not abide by this policy, actually,
according to what policy?
The policy actually
the owner policy of the owner.
The owner policy. This is
but not the policy
the Mark Zuckerberg
of
policy,
international law or
Elon Musk policy. They are deciding what should be written, what should be posted on their platforms or not.
So it's personal policy.
It's a company policy. You cannot change it. You don't have the option to change it. You cannot actually condemn such policy, and they can easily shut down your account and eradicate your presence online. And this is what happened with
how democratic
President Trump, actually, after the Congress wrote and the demonstration that happened within from the Trump supporter. Actually, they closed, they shut down the Trump accounts all over the social media. So if you don't have a presence on the social media, you don't simply exist in the physical world, actually, because the only way to convey your messages, the only way to express your thoughts and discuss a lot of things and spread your news and send your opinion about anything is through the digital platforms. So the policy is mainly dictated by the companies, either Meta or X or the X Twitter. So you cannot change it. That's why we need the world now is looking for having a sort of
another platform,
not only another platform, but to have a sort of a framework to govern the data.
Exactly, this is the question.
This is very important, and we are discussing this even as experts in so many occasions. That I was part of the expert committee with the United Nations University and the International Chambers of Commerce. Last week we spent like 2 hours discussing how we can have a holistic approach, having a holistic framework that could govern the data, because we need data governance. It is very important. You cannot ban my thoughts. You cannot decide what I can say and what I cannot say through your own algorithm or your own
If I'm
procedures.
the owner, then I can decide.
Actually, this was happening now. This was happening now, and this is part of the conflict between the governments and the policy makers, as well as the owners of such platforms. They are actually having Meta has something like 3 billion people on the platform. X platform has almost 1 billion users on
With
the
a
platform.
unified vision, I mean, maybe half of them could could have different beliefs or?
Actually, I would say Meta platform is following the official guideline or the official, I would say, framework of the U.S. government. They are complying with the general theme of or the general direction
Okay.
of the policymakers in Washington D.C. However, Elon Musk, on the contrary, actually, because he's a very controversial person, that's why if you see it during the performance of the platforms, both platforms, over the last 40 days during Gaza crisis, you can find more freedom on X compared to the allowed way of
On his
expressing
platform.
things. On
He's more aware, more self-cultured.
I would say that actually there's a bigger conflict between the two
of them.
the two
Competition.
mega platforms or the major platforms, because
Right.
everyone is trying to grab and attract more users. More users mean that you'll have more advisors, more advertising revenue. A company like Meta is making like 115 billion US dollar out of advertising every year. The revenue is huge, actually. But if you compare it to X, you're talking here about only like 4 billion US dollar coming as a revenue from advertising. That's why they introduced another source of revenue, which is having a premium subscription that gives you some benefits. And of course, this is another problem, because most of the fake accounts or misleading accounts using such verification to spread more fake news, or having a sort of misinformation, having a sort of disinformation. This is another problem, because you can easily make what's called bot, or an account made by artificial intelligence to look like a human being, and use this account to spread fake news, or and
On any platform?
on any platforms. Of course, it's more painful on Twitter because of the nature of Twitter. Because the Twitter has no limits of the people who can follow you, or the people you are following. So it's totally different, the dynamics there. And especially for news, Twitter is, or X as a platform, is not Twitter anymore. Actually, Elon Musk changed it to X. X has more, or is becoming a main venue for news. So you can find all the international news channels, all the international regional news channels. You can even the domestic news channels have a presence there, because this is the fastest way to convey the message, to spread the news. And of course, again, you can easily have a fake account over there. And of course, by using artificial intelligence, you can make fake news very easily. Actually, it wouldn't cost you more than 10 minutes to make a totally deep faked video, for example, for a president of the United States. You can do this by spending only 10 minutes using artificial intelligence tools.
And a fake account, and then I can post it.
And you can fake a video, and then this fake video can spread like hell over the platform. And this, of course, leading to another damage in the way I'm perceiving and how credible the news on the such platforms. That's why we are always saying that if you see a post, if you see a tweet or a video coming from unrecognized, unofficial source, you need to stop and verify this is it a fake video or not. Please go and search if this video exists on the international channels or not, or the recognized, the verified, the authenticated accounts or not. Otherwise, please don't share it, because you are helping to spread more fake news. And fake news actually is becoming one of the major things that everyone on the planet is trying to fight, because it's becoming very dangerous for manipulating the public opinion. Here in Egypt, and all over the world. So it's becoming on the top of becoming as a top priority for so many governments all over the world, and institutions that including the United Nations, the NATO, and the European Union, and of course there's actually some countries are now articulating legal framework to
control.
not only to control, but actually to go after such fake accounts and forcing the platforms owners to shut down such fake accounts and to stop spreading such fake news. Because if I would be able to use artificial intelligence tools to make a fake video, for example, I can use some other artificial intelligence tools to verify and to if this kind of video is a fake video or not, because you cannot distinguish between what's actually authenticated and what's original and what's fake. Faking everything on the internet is becoming really a threat, and because it's very easy now, the tools are there, it's very cheap, and of course the output of fake news and the output of fake videos is you cannot distinguish between the real thing and the fake
Exactly,
thing.
which leads us to another point, which is if you can fake, or if you can change information, if you can edit, re-edit again, then how come, it's very controversial, I mean, how come at this time, I mean this momentum or this age we're living in, information can spread so quickly, and the piece of news can be transmitted everywhere in a flash of a second, a real piece of news, and truths are revealed. Like, for example, the situation in Gaza, I mean, for 48 years, they couldn't prove, they couldn't show the true colors of a fascist regime, for governments, genocidal governments, brutality and everything, and only on almost how many days?
We are talking here about 40-something days.
40 days? 40 days, not 40 years. The whole truth was revealed to the world. How come it was not tarnished? How come it was not re-edited? How does that happen? I mean, how is that very fine line drawn between reality and between faking news? And both are working.
Actually, that's why it's very sophisticated, actually, because if you see a video
and it's done by amateurs.
By individuals. And you see the video, you cannot authenticate if the video is real or not. That's why there is another option now actually introduced during this crisis by Elon Musk. You can ask the community to comment on such video, because we've seen a lot of videos that is belong to something happened in 2012, for example. And people starting that commenting on such video or such post, this is not real, this is not right, this is fake. And now the platform attach such comments to the post. So as a reader or as a subscriber,
it is retrieved.
It's quite clear this is from the community, from the input of the community. This video or this post is manipulated, so don't trust. So it's becoming very sophisticated. Actually, this is not an easy task, because the number of posts every second is beyond imagination. And you have billions of users every minute on such platforms. So the only way is to engage the community, to raise the awareness, to be sure that this video is genuine or is fabricated or manipulated. That's why it's a kind of awareness that people, if you see such post and you see this post is something manipulated or fabricated or fake or even deep fake, please comment as a community on such video. And this would help the platform to attach your comment, the collective comments of the community, and give you a warning that this video or this post could be manipulated. So don't take it as a source of information. So it's a new model. That's why we need to upgrade ourselves. We need to upgrade our awareness or capacity to be aware that seeing is not believing now.
Saying is not believing. But then we keep hearing about new techniques, and I'm not very good at this with this digital life, but at the same time, every day we wake up to a new technology, type of technology. I mean, somehow advanced type of technology, especially with like Meta. What's working today is going to be history next month or next year. There is time that is coming that where we are going to probably stage wars through visual reality. There is time that is going to come where we could visit countries, see each other through a special technique, and this was mentioned. I mean, talking of too many techniques, so let's explore together the future of social media. I mean, where do we find the future of social media amongst all these techniques? We're very curious.
It's very actually sophisticated as well. Because actually what we're seeing now, or what we're seeing now, is what's called Web 2.0.
2.0.
That's because Web 1.0 was only text. Then Web 2.0 that we have text, video, audio, and
Okay.
and now with the existence of social platforms that we can interact and share our thoughts in a different way. However, Web 3.0, this is totally different thing. That will be based on what's called the metaverse. The metaverse that I'm extending my physical world into a virtual world. So the limits of my physical world would be the virtual world by using special tools, like the glasses, the gloves, the sensors, and so on and so forth. So we are extended our reality actually. That's why they are calling this as extended reality, because the reality will not be bounded by the physical limits that we are seeing around us. But of course, the virtual life or the virtual extension of our life, which will be endless. And of course, this will dictate a new way of life, new lifestyles, new way of thinking, a new way of conducting things. Imagine yourself back in the late 90s, 1990s, for example, then the world introduced the internet. Actually, we were conducting things differently. And by the introduction of internet in the late 1990s, we used emails instead of sending letters and faxes and telexes.
And we still do.
And now we are using social media to exchange thoughts. Actually, some applications becoming a replacement of the emails. You can find so many messaging applications that you are using instead of sending emails. Because this very easy, because I have my mobile all the time, 24/7. So it's easier for me to send you a message or send you a document and or a voice note. So technology is always altering the way we conduct things. By the evolution of the technology, by the evolution of AI that we are witnessing today, of course we're going to enter a new world, and this world will dictate a new lifestyle, new models of conducting business and conducting our work, or how we study and how we are communicating with each other. So it's always the future starts with what we are doing now. So we need to be prepared for the next inflection point, because
Exactly how?
How? By using the technology, understanding the technology,
And
understanding
by
the
educating
side.
ourselves also.
All the time, actually, this is not becoming an option. Continuous learning is not becoming an option, because even as professional, by introducing, for example, the generative AI, this changing the world now.
What is that?
Generative AI, that I'm asking the computer
Like
to do something on my behalf.
Chat GP, for example?
Or ChatGPT, or the Bing, or there are
Too
many applications are available. This was introduced only 1 year ago.
But that's very useful.
It's very useful. Actually, is becoming of your skills will be different, because I don't have to write a letter anymore. I don't have to think of something anymore. All what I need, I have the skill to ask or to prompt.
Download them. But then I tell you what, then I mean, everybody will be the same. Nobody will be able to excel, because nobody is going to spend, I mean, an effort to think, because everything is going to be done artificially. You won't find the difference between the ignorant person and the, I mean, well-educated, or the one with the cultural background. This is going to be a two-sided weapon also.
Actually, this is not correct 100%, because if I'm going to prompt the AI, asking for something, for example, please write me a letter or invitation for a conference. If I don't have the experience, I don't have the knowledge, of course I cannot use this and claim that.
In what way?
And I cannot use it and pretend that if I'm not qualified enough. That is my work.
Do I dictate, I mean, the points?
Actually, you just mention anything. It's working with the natural language processing. Actually, if you do spelling mistakes, if you do, and you can communicate by voice, you can communicate by
I mean,
typing.
do I dictate the topics? Or
actually,
they work on the topics?
Because we use the computer to calculate for us faster. Now we are using the computer to think for us faster. And we cannot compete machines in this regards. And today we have trillions and trillions of gigabytes available, and the artificial intelligence is capable to analyze such huge data. So the application is unlimited. The industry will use it, the government will use it, the individuals will use it, the schools and universities will use it. So we are entering a new era. So we need to be prepared for the new era. And we need to take advantage of such new technology, because if we don't take the advantage of such new technology, someone else will take such advantage, and they were going to excel, and there will be a huge knowledge gap between people who are not capable to use such new technology and such new tools, and the people who do not. So we need to be prepared. We need to actually do not fear the technology, because the technology will progress, and the rate of progression of regarding technology is exponential, is not linear. Actually, is something beyond imagination. So I need to be prepared. I need to use such new tools in advancing my skills, in advancing my work, in advancing the way I'm presenting things, in the way I'm studying things. Because this will open a new era. Actually, by such new tools, we'll be able to discover new drugs, healing or targeting diseases that never be, or we didn't think that could be cured.
Never crossed our minds before.
Actually, this could be the solution for finding a new drug based on the existing drugs and based on the interaction between the different drugs and different chemicals to come up with a cure for Alzheimer or cancer or the mental diseases. So the future is there, and of course we need to be prepared. Otherwise we'll be outdated, and of course we'll be out of history. So almost each inflection point when it comes to technology changing the world. It started with the first industrial revolution, but however, with the pace of development that we are witnessing today, the growth is exponential, and of course,
and it's rapid.
Because always you can find a youngster, a startup, use such technology and change the world. That happened with the social media platforms, it happened with the applications that you're using for commuting, it happened with every, the financial inclusion, the electronic payment, it happens and it will happen. And with the power of such new tools, you'll find amazing applications that will never cross your mind before. And of course, this will enhance our quality of life, because it will make our life safer, our life easier, and of course this will increase the resilience of our healthcare system, the resilience of our economy, the resilience of our education system. So the technology is there, and the technology will be used whatever we like it or not. And the business models will be changing all the time. So we need to be ahead of time, and we need to be ahead of things, and we need to invent and innovate our business model to be able to use the technology to the maximum for the benefit of mankind.
Right. But talking about us in Egypt, for example, on the Arab world, I mean, not in the United States or I mean other, the United States mainly is the foundation of all those platforms. But speaking about us here in Egypt, we have very excellent calibers who are capable of even creating more powerful platforms. And I mean, and talking about inspirational minds and creative visions and all that. So, I mean, where do we stand when we talk about social media and its effect in changing the whole world's vision and changing, reflecting truth and everything? Especially that we have so many causes that we need to be able to work on.
Actually, if you technically, we have so many great startups. We are witnessing great breed of startups. We've seen a lot of startups that are already excelling in high-tech domain. Actually, one of the Egyptian startups working in AI domain is considered one of the top 20 startups all over the world working in artificial intelligence domain. And of course, they are very promising. So you need to have more investment in such great minds, availing funds, availing technology transfer throughout the cooperation with the multinationals, because you cannot do anything alone anymore. You need to have a sort of partnership, to have a sort of knowledge transfer. You need to have more investment in R&D. You need to have to secure funds for developing products and services based on the high-tech techniques or high-tech tools that we are witnessing today. You need to apply such technologies and such innovative products within your services or provided by the government, for example. And this could open the door for so many startups to come and implement such great innovation within the governmental sector. And we've seen this actually in many applications now in healthcare system, in agriculture sector. We've seen a lot of technological innovative products and services have been utilized by the government in so many projects in the healthcare sector, in the agriculture sector, and in the public
You mean the
offering sector.
applications that somebody developed it and
Here,
worked on developing?
Local development.
100% local?
There's nothing called 100%, but actually the great part of it is developed by Egyptian youngsters
Egyptian
and
minds.
startups, Egyptian minds, and they are very qualified. We've seen this. They are taking so many great prizes all over the world. They are winning so many competitions, and of course this is a start because the ecosystem of startup is growing here in Egypt, and actually they are attracting hundreds of millions of foreign direct investment. Actually, last year we were talking about 40 companies. This year we were talking about 80 companies, and were able to attract like 500 million US dollars as investment. And actually, by the end of this year, actually this number could be doubled.
Right. But again, the question remains: what are the pros and cons of social media? I mean, social media, we cannot live without social media now. I mean, it's so essential in our lives, not for entertainment, but just to cope up with life around us everywhere. But then still, the pros and cons will remain. I mean, and what is weighing the other? I mean, what's your insight about the pros and cons of social media?
Definitely, it depends on you as a person, because if you have
Depends on the receiver, you mean?
of course, and the creator of content, because you are not only a receiver, you are a creator of content. You are a content creator by yourself. If you send you posting on your Facebook account or a Twitter account, you are creating posts. So you need to be aware of things. You don't, and you need to be sure that what you are saying is the truth. and to be careful of the fake information and disinformation and misinformation, because it's very hard to distinguish between the truth and the other sides on the social media. So you need to be aware all the time. You need to verify what you are saying. You don't share anything just for sharing or seeking traffic from sharing something that looks nice and it looks that is actually coping with my intentions or my direction as a person.
Exactly.
And of course, you need to get your information from trustworthy sources. Because anything can be fabricated, anything can be manipulated. This is really one of the main challenges, not only facing us as Egyptians, but also facing the population of the internet, which is more than half of the population of the world. And this topic is becoming on the top of the agenda on different levels, domestically, regionally, and internationally, and of course without establishing international cooperation in this regards. And everyone's talking about establishing international cooperation to fight such infodemic, this kind of new pandemic that is affecting every one of us. And of course, social media has a bright side also as well, because this is, if you have a small business, this is the only way to market your product and services is the social media. Otherwise, it will be very costly. If you have an idea, you can promote your idea. You can, for the professional social media networks like LinkedIn, it's a way to connect the job seekers with the enterprises, and of course this is a way to have qualified people rather than having disorderly ads for getting people to work in your organization. And of course the social media is wide open, and of course this is a great opportunity for especially for small and medium enterprises and small and medium companies to sell their products and services outside their domestic market. And the only way to do is to do some marketing for their products and services, and the only way and the cheapest way to do so is to use the social media. So social media is not having only bad side, but also it has a very great impact on our life as humans and as on businesses as well. So there's always two sides of the coin will be there. The way I handle things is totally dependent on my maturity and ability to distinguish between what's right and what's wrong.
Right. On that excellent note, Engineer Mohamed Azzam, you are board member, International Association Management of Technology. Thank you so much for coming as usual. It was a real pleasure having you. And I guess this brings us to the end of this edition of Windows and Current Affairs. Many thanks to all of you. Till we see you again next week. That's a goodbye.